Welcome to the TradNurse podcast. This is episode 10. And today I'm very excited. I have a friend of mine, Christina Young, who has been in nursing. I'm not sure how many years, but I was able to witness when she graduated from her orientation and became a med-surg nurse. So I'm very excited to talk to her about that experience and her orientation. So we'll get right to it. Christina, tell us about yourself. How long have you been a nurse and what is your experience right now?
Yeah, so my name's Christina Young. I've been a nurse for 4 years. Can't believe it's been that long. And I started out on a med-surg floor, was my first nursing job, and then I went to corrections nursing and now have found myself in primary care.
Nice.
But as an LNA, I also worked long-term care, med-surg, inpatient, emergency room tech, birthing center, OB/GYN office, and a general surgery office.
Wow. So you've had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
That's
In
good.
addition to being a nurse, I'm also an advanced EMT and a volunteer firefighter.
Good for you. Can you walk us through your first day of orientation as a new grad RN and what stands out the most, good or bad, in like your first few days of orientation?
Yeah, so I feel like my orientation was a little different. I worked as an LNA on that floor prior to nursing school, and then nursing school, my clinicals were on that floor. So it was a little different. I was pretty familiar with the groove and how things went. So when I came on as a nurse, one of the main issues that I did find was that nobody knew what role I was in,
Right.
because I had been there in multiple roles. So that was a little confusing towards the beginning. Um, but at the very beginning, it was observation only, nothing more. Which was very different compared to being a student on the floor, managing my own patients, to then feel like taking a step back to just observing. So that was definitely interesting. We didn't do any med paths, no vitals, no patient care. We just followed around our preceptor nurse. So that was definitely interesting. One of the nice parts though was I did just have one preceptor, so I wasn't being bounced around. So my first day, we started in the education room. We were discussing like how things were going and how the process was for our orientation. And there was about four of us that had started at the same time, all from the same graduating class, all new grads. Then we went out onto the floor and just watched the watched the days go by for about a month.
For someone who didn't have any experience on the floor, that would be okay. But because you were so hands on, you probably found it very boring.
Yeah, so it was following around a nurse who I had worked with in my clinicals and when I was an LNA and just following her around. Which, like you said, as a new nurse to the hospital, fantastic to get to
Yeah.
see how everything works and understand the programs. But as someone who had already been there, it definitely was a bit of a tedious month.
How long was your formal orientation?
So normal employees at the location I was working at was 6 weeks. The new grad orientation, when we went into that program, which was your first nursing job after graduating, that was a full 12 months. So 6 months with your preceptor every day, where we started out observing and then slowly got to add on more. And then by the end, we were managing our own patient load with them there as an extra for support if we needed it. And then the following 6 months, we did every 2 week check-ins with education and management just to see where we were at and anything we needed help with.
So it sounds like you got a pretty extensive orientation, which is good.
The program that I was at had a very extensive orientation for new grads. It had recently been revamped to create this more supportive environment.
What was the biggest gap between nursing school and your first real shift on the floor? Was it that first month or was it that whole year?
I didn't really feel like there was a gap.
Yeah.
with working there, same facility, same floor, same nurses I worked for, same manager I'd been under,
Yep.
education was part of my clinicals.
Right,
So,
right,
like,
right.
one day I was being graded and paying for it, one day I was getting paid.
It's really smart for hospitals to retain nurses like that and to pay for them to be oriented and work for them because you're so comfortable already with patients. And we're going to get to retention because I think that's important too. Why do nurses leave? But let's just stick with orientation for right now. Were there any sink or swim moments during orientation that shocked you?
No, I don't remember a single sink or swim time. Even when we were short-staffed, it was never, "Hey, you're taking this patient alone." They called someone else in. They pulled someone from a different floor. I was never put in that position that I had to do any patient care early. If I didn't feel comfortable with it, they didn't have me do it. And even if I felt comfortable with it and hadn't done it with a preceptor while hired by them, I didn't do it.
That's incredible. That's unusual too.
Yeah. My preceptor, once I got a little more independent, my preceptor would and I would take on more patients because there was 2 of us. So instead of our normal 4, we'd go to, like, 6, because we had extra. There was 2 of us,
That's awesome.
but it was fantastic.
That's really, really good. If you could redesign your orientation from day one, what's the first thing you would change?
I think that the only thing that thinking back on this, would have changed was probably just that first month of just observing.
Yeah.
And again, if you were new to the facility,
Yeah.
but being there already, coming straight from the program that hosted there right into the hospital, I didn't feel like I needed that much observing, but I understand the concept
Yeah.
and why they did it.
Yeah.
If I had been going to a different unit, totally. Yeah.
Continuity of care is always the best route. Did you feel like your preceptors had enough time and support to teach you effectively? I mean, it sounds like you got an excellent orientation.
I was one-on-one with my preceptor.
Well,
We worked the exact same shift. I never worked a single day without my preceptor. She was fantastic. We took lunches at the same time. Our
that's
schedules were
awesome.
pretty synced. The only time, was when she had to, like, go to a meeting and or something off in a committee she was on.
Hmm.
So during that, I got partnered up with another nurse. I was still managing the patients, but I was partnered up with another nurse, or the manager came out and she was my preceptor while she
Right.
was off the floor.
That's incredible.
And then once a month, we did a classroom day with our whole new grad nurses. We discussed topics of learning, charting, policies, changes in procedures or point of care tests. So that was really helpful because then we got the education separate from them just learning it on the floor.
Were there skills like time management, delegation, or documentation that you wish were taught before you were off orientation?
I feel like I got all of that. They started me out with 1. All you have to do all day is take care of this one patient. So I was able to find my groove and find
Mhm.
what worked best for me with 1. Once they were like, "Oh, yeah, you're super comfortable with that. Here's another." And it would grow in acuity and grow in quantity based on how competent I was. So even if I was up to 3 basic patients, if there was something that was high acuity, I went back to 1.
That's great.
So it was definitely, I don't feel like there was any problems with delegation. Um, we the hospital I was at, we were a close-knit team.
Yeah.
It wasn't It was something we went over, and I had watched my preceptor do it hundreds of
Right.
times. I mean,
Yeah.
there
And
was a few, like, specific procedures that, like, we didn't talk about because we didn't see them,
yeah.
but very rare.
And those are the things you learn on the job. There's so many nurses that get out of their orientation and they haven't even started an IV. I've
Yeah.
talked to them. So you had a good orientation.
The program I was in was fantastic.
Hopefully they continue that program because it does help you succeed in your nursing career to be supported.
So I know that they're not working with the school at the moment due to some lack of nurse educators. So they aren't working with the school directly, but they have continued this 12-month orientation for new grads.
Good. So let's switch gears a little bit towards you had a great orientation, you learned a lot. From what I could see, you became an excellent nurse, RN, and completely capable of handling a patient load. What are things hospitals do really well to keep new nurses from burning out that first year? Because that first year is where you really get tested. And especially for you, for someone that has been there, I could see the nurses were like, oh, she's been here. She knows that. And when you may not have, but there were nurses that protected you. They're like, oh, she's just off orientation. She can't take that extra patient. So speak to that.
Yeah, so definitely I feel like the extra support from management, education, and the preceptors and other nurses was definitely something that was really helpful. Especially in my situation, I had support from them through the first 12 months. And even after that, they were a knock on the door away to have a conversation, be there. And I feel like the situation where we had lighter caseloads, growing in acuity and quantity, that was definitely helpful. Having a more smooth transition into it rather than just like, oh, you're on day 7, here's your 5 patients. Good luck. I
Right.
was definitely, there was so much support,
That's
and that
incredible.
definitely helped.
And as far as retaining and keeping nurses there, what would you suggest that they do better?
I think the orientation programs in general could do better with making it longer. And I
Yeah.
know as an extra person on payroll,
Yeah.
and I get that financially, but if you can work to making a fantastic nurse who feels comfortable and isn't burnt out in that first year, they're
Yeah.
likely going to stay.
Exactly.
And even if they don't stay and they move on for whatever reason, I know personally, I talk so highly of their program, of
Yeah.
their nurses, of their management. It was probably the best place I ever worked.
That's awesome. So, for hospital administrators, they often talk about resiliency training. From your experience, what helps new grads stay? And I'm going to give you statistics. To train a new RN from school, nursing school, it takes 3 to 5 years. The hospital, that good 1 year of experience, but to really feel confident takes 3 to 5 years. So they got to keep you there for 3 to 5 years. What would you do if you were a hospital administrator? What would you do to try to keep those nurses? Because you're going to have to train a whole new batch coming in.
Yeah. Again, those longer orientations, I think definitely helped at least through that first year. Going forward, I think that listening to their concerns, working through, we had a union, working through the union's concerns. That was not happening as best as it could.
Yeah.
There's definitely been some changes that I know of, and it seems to be doing better. But I really think it's just that support.
Yeah.
If you're not
And
that confident nurse till year 5, they can't just expect you to sink or
yeah.
swim.
And if you go to them with a concern or a question, there should be actionable items. Okay, we're doing this, and this to so that doesn't happen again.
With training stuff, like being able to go to the manager and be like, "Hey, I've only done 2 of these and it's been a little bit. Can you come help me?"
Yeah.
And I did that plenty between the house supervisor, the manager, education. There was always someone there to help you.
You were really good about saying you needed help too, because there were some nurses that they just wouldn't say they needed help. And you needed to figure out, oh, I should go check on that nurse because she needs help. But you were always really confident, which is a strong character trait for a nurse is you were not afraid to say, I just need a little help. Well, let me just run this by you. Kudos to you for being very strong in that area. It's
And I
gonna
think having that mindset, like I've been in here 4 years. I'm pretty confident where I'm at right now. If you were to put me back on that med-surg floor, I would be lost at this point. I've been off for 3 years. It would take me some time to get back into it.
Of
I
course.
acknowledge that that I'm not perfect. I don't know everything.
Yeah,
And as nurses, we don't.
we don't.
So knowing where to get those resources and for the hospital to provide those
Yeah.
resources.
And for you to feel comfortable that when you ask the question, like, I need more to learn more on this, that you get that support and it's not like you're causing trouble or something. So you're feeling supported. If you were in charge of a new grad retention task force or program, what would your top policy be to stop the mass exodus? I think it happens around 12 to 18 months. Nurses stay, and then after a year, they're just like, I got to do something else.
I think that it would be instituting a support system. And I know that's hard to, it's not a policy, but creating that community within these units where the manager's out there every morning. Hey, how are you guys? How are things going? How's the day looking? Do you guys need anything from me right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to be in my office. Let me know if you need anything. I know I'm stepping out from here to here, but you have my number. Give me a call. Creating that community
Yeah.
to be able to feel supported.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who I was going on shift with.
Yeah.
I had support from the house
Exactly.
supervisor at all times, from my
Exactly.
manager at all times. And no matter what nurses I was working for, we were all there for each other.
Hmm.
And I think that that community that I had made it so much better. And I feel like if more hospitals can create that community versus the hierarchy of senior nurses eating their young,
Yeah.
that whole concept, like,
That has to end.
it has to be done.
It still goes on, and it does stem from the top down. And it really, you have to be a hands-on manager. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO, the CNO, shift supervisor, nurse manager, charge nurse. Like everybody has to be like, oh, this is my job for the next 8 or 12 hours, and I'm going to be 100% into it, and I'm going to be available for all the people that report to me. It's not that difficult.
It's right. It's not that difficult, but it's rare.
Okay, good answer. For new grads listening, who are like 3 months in and drowning, what's your 30-second pep talk? It can be longer to keep them from quitting. Because we've seen, and I sent you that video, I don't know if you watched it, but that's a trend with what's happening with nurses. They're walking away from the profession because this is crazy and I can't do it anymore. Their mental health, they're breaking down.
Absolutely. And it's something I have to remind myself of often to this point that you deserve to be here. You have put in the time, you've put in the studying,
Yeah.
you have put in the effort that you do deserve to be where you are. That whole imposter syndrome, easier said than done, but you have to find a way to get around it because you do deserve to be there. And I've had that imposter syndrome up until probably yesterday.
Yeah, we all have. It's real.
It's definitely real. You do know what you're doing and you have worked as hard. You've all been through the same thing. You have the same degree. You might not have the knowledge from being on the floor, but what you don't have from being on the floor, you have in book knowledge.
Yeah.
And to just my other part to that, that's one pep talk. The other one is you have to do what's right for you. It can be the best situation. If there's one thing that's making it super hard on your mental health, there's another area that you can go to. There's a bazillion avenues to nursing. If you're like med surg, it's not my thing. It's fine. There's plenty.
Yep.
And it's okay to spend time finding that niche.
Yep.
Everyone's got one. And it maybe just takes time. You're just
I
gonna stick with
agree.
it.
Yeah, great answer. Yeah, don't leave nursing completely because there's so many other jobs you can do.
Absolutely.
And
Even if schedule wise, if it's the 312s that's the problem,
yeah.
there's 8-hour shifts,
Mhm.
there's 10-hour shifts, there's different options.
And I think that's the takeaway here is it's okay within nursing to change positions. We don't live in an era where you stayed at the same job for your entire career. That's unheard of. And I almost don't think it makes you a better nurse because you don't adapt well. The nurses that go and they have different experiences and they learn other areas of nursing, they're more adaptable. They're quicker to make changes and learn. And
I mean, in 4 years, I've been in 3 different areas of nursing, and 3 very different
yeah,
in nursing. Going from med-surg, that typical, you get out of school, you need to do med-surg. I spent 2 years on med-surg. I did my
you
2
did your
years on
time.
med-surg.
Yeah,
I did my time, and from that, I went from day shift med-surg to night shift correctional nursing.
that's a whole different world because I've done my stint in corrections, not my
Whole
thing.
different world. Um, Especially on night shift in a short-staffed area on a contract. We weren't even employed by the prison. We were on contract, so it was very, very different. And then to going to primary care, I work 5/8,
Yeah, it's
Monday through
nice.
Friday, no holidays, no weekends.
Yeah,
I get to sit at my desk
have a
every day
have a normal life. You get to
and
know your patients
yeah,
and they love you.
I know a lot of my patients by name, by face, and I mean, my panel, I've got 1,000. I have
Wow.
1,000 patients on me and my docs panel, but it's making that connection. I know what's going on
Yeah,
with everybody,
that's awesome.
and it's just so different
Mhm.
from med-surg where we see them post-op for a day, move on to the next,
Right, right.
or corrections where you cannot make that connection.
Yeah. Literally, you can't have any personal connection with I had a hard time with that.
So there's always different things. I mean, I joke that I just had an identity crisis. One of my providers that I worked for left, and I was like, "All right, so what am I gonna do?" And I was like, "Maybe education. Maybe I wanna go for my NP."
Mm,
And then I got this crazy idea that I was gonna be a flight nurse. Haven't moved forward with any of those things,
I love it.
but they're all still there.
I think I wanted to be a flight nurse for a little bit.
I
Yeah.
think everyone does.
Oh, it sounds so exciting, and that's why I went to nursing. I mean, ICU nursing, that was actually my favorite, and I was like, "Be a critical care flight nurse." I never took that step, but
Haven't yet either. And I say that that's what I'm gonna go do, but
I think it's
haven't made
great.
it.
It's probably bang for your buck, return on investment for those couple of years you go to school to get your RN. Do you have your BSN? You have your BSN, right?
I do have my BSN. My program was online. My program was a little funny. So I got my ADN, sat for my licensing, and then while working full time, went for my BSN online. So I was able to start that experience while still going to school.
Mhm.
But the BSN program was a lot of learning management skills, leadership skills, and more critical thinking.
Right.
And from that, I feel like it opened up a lot more opportunities.
Yeah. In the United States, like if you're applying in a hospital to be an RN, the entry level is a BSN. In the workforce, the entry level is a bachelor's at a minimum. So that makes sense. I don't think it makes anyone a better nurse because there's those arguments. But you could go on and you can get your NP from there, your Master of
Yeah,
Science, and yeah.
absolutely.
And the beautiful thing too, if you're working for somewhere, they give you a pretty good tuition reimbursement. So there is incentive to go on.
Yeah, and especially if they have the incentive for you to continue and then stay there. Where
Yeah.
I'm at in primary care right now, if I was like, "Hey, I'm going for my NP, I'm starting tomorrow." The way our program works is they cover 50% of your tuition.
That's incredible.
And then the other 50% they loan to you.
Are you
And
kidding?
you get to pay it out of your checks, small amount over X amount of time, so that you can pay completely in full in cash.
That is incredible.
It's a fantastic program. I've never seen retention like that.
And that will keep you there.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
is hospitals should be doing something like this.
Yeah, the primary care where I'm at, they do that, and we have so many. I know at least 4 of our docs who started in our office, or 4 of our NPs who started in our office as rooming staff,
Incredible.
and then they went and got their nursing degree, and they worked as a nurse, and they worked their butt off and was being a nurse and going to NP school, and now they're some of our best NPs because they get it.
They do. And they
They've
know
been
those
through it all.
patients. That is probably the most brilliant thing I have heard in a long time as far as retaining nurses to
And
stay at your
each of those
facility.
NPs took advantage of that tuition reimbursement. They took advantage of it, and that has helped them get to that point while having financial stability to be able to come down a little bit on their work time.
Wow.
But they are just some of the most fantastic NPs to have, and they've been there for years.
Wow.
I was talking with one yesterday, 15 years that she's been at our practice,
Well,
from a nurse to an NP.
you don't hear that very
Easy.
often, ever.
And she loves it.
I think you need to do that. That's like a no-brainer.
Yeah. But school.
School, I know, school's annoying, but, like, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So, one word to describe, let's close it up here. This has been an excellent interview. I would love to have you back, talk about anything in nursing under the sun, anything. Just send me a text, give me word. It can be more than one word to describe your first year as an RN.
I say that my first year as an RN was so confidence boosting.
Mm,
And I think that pretty much sums it up. Um, and like confidence boosting, self esteem boosting, because I was able to have that support to prove that I did deserve to be there.
yeah. And you did. You worked hard. You were really good about picking up things quick and attentive and detail oriented. So that's a great takeaway from your first year. I don't think a lot of nurses can say that.
And confidence without arrogance.
Right.
And that program built that
A humble confidence.
in a very humble confidence.
Exactly. Well, perfect. So, on that, what is your social media? How do listeners contact you if they have questions or they want to support you in any way?
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook at Christina Young. It's a picture of me and my horse. And then my email is christina.youngtuller, TULLER, @gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. I'm going to end the recording.